Good day, readers and viewers of Embassy Direct, again with Around the Globe in 9 months, now in our 8th session after a long 2023, today featuring the Czech Republic, and as usual, Otto de Vries leading the way, and we hope you enjoy this last of the year. Thank you very much. Otto?
Thank you, Rodrigo. And yes, good morning, everybody, and welcome to this, our final, but certainly not least, probably one of the more exciting destinations in Europe, and really looking forward to our session today with our friends and colleagues from the Czech Republic. Obviously, a very warm welcome to His Excellency, the Ambassador, who is joining us this morning as well. And doing the traveling thing, he's reaching out to us from Cape Town Airport, where he's just landed, so that's fantastic. We're going to give everybody a little bit of time to join, and then we'll get things going. So please feel free to settle in and enjoy the session. We'll get started in a couple of minutes.
So this is basically the shortcut about the South African tourists or citizens visiting the Czech Republic. You can see that more or less after the pandemic, around 6,000 South Africans visit Czech Republic, which is sharp decline in 12,000 in pre-endemic period. Most of them, of course, are staying in Prague. I would say that 90%. Prague is, of course, the major and the main tourist destination and attraction in our country. But as I'm not from Prague, I can also recommend the other region. I'm originally from Southern Moravia, and I can tell you that's the region which you would like if you visit the Czech Republic. Next slide, please. This is about the airlines, but these airlines who are, the most convenient connection to my country, I leave it to Mr. Wild, who is passionate not only about the Czech Republic, but also about his passion is also about supporting the Czech embassy in their travel around the 8 accredited countries here in Southern Africa region, which we are very thankful. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. Although there are no direct flights between South Africa and Czech Republic, it is very easy and convenient to get to Prague. Most European carriers, as you can see from the South African market, have multiple connections through their hubs. Air France, KLM, Lufthansa, Swiss, Condor Airlines all fly via their hubs to Prague. Immigration is cleared at the first port of entry to a Schengen state, which is important, but the luggage is forwarded all the way to Prague. Travelers arrive in Prague in Terminal 2, which serves arrivals from Schengen countries, and after collecting luggage, one clears the terminal in no time. British Airways also have multiple daily connections to Prague. Unfortunately, however, South Africans traveling to Schengen states through Heathrow require a transit visa. Middle Eastern carriers Emirates, Qatar, and Turkish Airlines also have multiple connections to their hubs. Arrivals in Prague from these flights are in Terminal 1, where Schengen immigration is cleared and luggage collected. Travelers clear this terminal much faster than other European airports where you can wait for hours. All these airlines have daily flights out of OR Tambo, but there are also direct flights on most of these carriers from Cape Town, although some don't operate daily from Cape Town. From Durban, Prague can be reached via Emirates daily, directly to Dubai and then on to Prague. And then Turkish Airlines and Qatar also offer flights from Durban to Prague via Johannesburg, where there's a short stopover, but passengers that boarded in Durban do not get off the flight at OR Tambo. Some visitors to Czech Republic combine their trip with visits to Vienna and Budapest. Most of these are easily reached by air, train, or bus. So if you have a longer time to spend in Europe, Czech Republic, certainly a week is too short, but if you have 2 or 3, then maybe you would want to combine it with other destinations. And then you can travel back to South Africa directly from either Vienna or Budapest. That's it on the airlines. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. So now I think it's a time for a nice video about the Czech Republic destination. was it.
Thank you so much, Katarina. Mr. Ambassador, I'm fully aware that you've got a busy schedule ahead of you. So I'd like to just ask if you wouldn't mind just sharing with us a little bit around what that visa process looks like for people that want to come and visit your amazing country.
Yes, Otto. In fact, the Czech Republic is since 2007 the member of the Schengen area. So the South African citizens need for entry the Schengen visa. Of course, if you have a multiple Schengen visa issued by any other European embassy or Schengen area embassy in Pretoria or Cape Town, then you can enter with this valid visa. The Czech Republic runs here in South Africa 3 centers when you South African can apply for the Schengen visa. There's the VFS enterprise, and it's in Pretoria, Cape Town, and Durban. So the South African citizens could easily, apply through these centers, which would then process the application to our visa section, and we don't have many denial of the visa from the South Africa. Of course, all the necessary information can be easily found on our web, the embassy web, and also on our visa section web with all the necessary contacts and details, but the process is rather smooth.
Fantastic, Mr. Ambassador. So it sounds as if at least the processes are operating smoothly. Is there any indication from your side, applications, roughly how much time do we need in order to apply before travel?
I think we are able to process the visa within 2 weeks maximum.
All right, fantastic. That's great to hear. So lots of different ways and easy to do. And I think that's an important component to having a successful welcome to a country. It always begins with the first step, and the first step is making sure that you can get there. So, Mr. Ambassador, thank you. And if you need to fall off the call, we completely understand, greatly appreciate your time, and thank you for joining us today. Whilst we're talking about access, and Milan has already sort of touched on it briefly with regards to air access, but between yourself, Milan, and Katarina, maybe you might be able to just take us through a little bit. What does the travel infrastructure look like in the Czech Republic? You know, it's quite common for people who travel to South Africa, because of the scope and the scale and the size of it, to rent a car and then to sort of travel around the country. We certainly don't enjoy the kind of infrastructure that we see in many European countries within the cities and being able to access and travel between cities. So, Katarina, what can you share with our attendees today when it comes to what they can expect? They arrive at the airport, and from there, what is probably the easiest way for them to find their way into the city, and how would they easily get around Prague, and then, of course, being able to reach other parts of the country as well?
Okay, so once you're in Prague, or you arrive to the capital, it's actually really easy to move around, because if we talk just about the capital, there's a good network of metro lines. There are tramways. It's easy to move by bus. But the city as well, it's very walkable. So if your hotel is located in the city center of Prague, you can really walk through the main attractions of Prague. So even according to Time Out, Prague was voted as the second most efficient and good public transport in the world. So yeah. And once you arrive to the airport, you just have to take the bus. Or the city is working on a metro line that should go to the airport, but it's not finished yet. So you can take the bus, or of course there are also companies that provide taxi services and so on. Once you want to travel outside Prague and you want to discover a little bit more about Czech Republic, it's also very easy, because there are railways and highways as well. And in terms of distance between the different parts of Czech Republic, from Prague to the last point of the country, it's actually maximum 3.5 hours. So most of the cities are between 1 and 2.5 hours as a distance. So that's really nice. And you can go by train. There are a good network of train lines. Then as well by buses, there are public companies as well as private companies you can choose, and the prices are affordable. And then maybe the last one, you can also, of course, rent a car. There are many companies that rent the cars, and then you can, of course, do your own itinerary through the country and decide what places you want to visit. Mr. Ambassador and Mr. Milan were talking about the air connections, but you can even travel once you are in Europe. It's really easy to travel to Czech Republic because there are direct train lines which goes, for example, from the surrounding countries such as Austria, Germany, Poland, Slovakia, Hungary. But next year there will be a new European sleeper, which is a night line that will go from Brussels through Amsterdam, Berlin, the north of the country, until Prague. So that's easy. As you can see, it's really easy to travel even from Europe to Prague via others than with airplane.
Oh, fantastic. And I think we all understand and appreciate that there is a very strong drive for travelers around the sustainability of their footprint when they are traveling. And I must admit, it's rather exciting to see the return of the overnight sleepers that are coming into Europe all over the place at the moment. So I think that's a really, really nice trend. Milan, I don't know if there's anything more you can add to that.
Basically, the only thing I can say is when traveling by car, Czech Republic travels on the wrong side of the road, but it's not a problem at all because the roads are very good, actually, and the traffic, which is quite important, is not so hectic. So, you know, in Western Europe, when you hire a car, you are often stuck for hours on highways. Of course, it does also happen at times around Prague, but not that you get stuck for half a day in 100-kilometer distance. So car is a good option if you've got the time, energy to actually explore all the different cities and all the different possibilities around the Czech Republic, not just Prague. It is from the first slide that we saw that the ambassador has shown us. It is, from my point of view, a little bit unfortunate that most visitors from South Africa visit Prague and then they go away, and there is so much more to see. Thank you.
Well, that's the perfect lead-in, so I'm going to stay with you. And when you say more to see, can you just sort of give us from your own experiences, and obviously, you know, there's no doubt about your love and passion for your home country. And you have been so proactive in this market in terms of promoting the Czech Republic as a destination. Milan, from your own personal experiences, what would you say outside of Prague are the must-dos? Things that people really should look at. And I'm gonna have to narrow you down to maybe 2 or 3 things, okay?
Otto, now I'm gonna be biased because of course on the top of the list is the town where I was born is Karlovy Vary or Karlsbad, which is a spa, which is a fabulous city for people that want to go on wellness retreats, which you can stay there for 2 or 3 weeks. So that's my top of the list. Of course, the world-renowned Český Krumlov, which is a UNESCO website which many people visit. Moravia around Brno, in the countryside. Believe it or not, the wine is quite good. There are some nice small vineyards which you can go and visit. In winter, it's relatively recent that even skiing has become quite fashionable. I could go on and on, but you told me 2 or 3, so I'll stop.
is to look at the MICE opportunities and obviously group travel. And it's a very popular activity from a corporate perspective in South Africa. And there's no doubt that we obviously have our typical sort of destinations that South African corporates like to either take for meetings or for incentives for their corporate customers or their staff. But Jana, what can you tell us about the Czech Republic, and why should we think about that as an option for our corporate customers?
That's a wide question. There was a lot being said on this topic already, because it's about Czech Republic generally, about Prague itself, and there is a lot to offer in many areas. Not only when it comes to accommodation, not only when it comes to some history and venues being held privately for group events. It's also about the very close and nearby areas which you can visit if you allow yourself to stay here for a slightly longer time. When we get to this, Prague is a lot about you can make it within like 2-3 days easily, seeing the must-sees, visiting the main areas, doing main things you wish to do here. And especially when it comes to South Africans, it's a lot about incentives. So I'm not really mentioning conferences right now. But 2-3 days are enough. And then if you combine it with some other country, it's usually let's say. But if you allow yourself to stay here longer and you really pick Prague only or Czech Republic only, then there are many places around and they are not really far away. I mentioned Kutná Hora, for example, it's for a half-day trip. Or Karlovy Vary, you will make it within 1 day if you just want to visit the place. Or maybe even overnight if you want to try their spa. So there is a lot to do, and I believe that people can really enjoy the time in Prague or in Czech Republic. Roughly.
I believe you have something you'd like to share with us.
I have a presentation.
Yeah, please, if you wouldn't mind, this would be the perfect time.
Yeah, I will share the presentation now, but it will be just a brief one because, as I said, we talked about a lot of things already. So let me just quickly provide you with some information. Okay, it's not also working well. Yeah, no, it's just about our company, and we are just a small team, 3 of us, boutique company. So we are trying really to pay attention to every single event that comes to Prague, being present there. And I will skip this. This will give you maybe just a brief idea on how Prague looks like. That dark circle, it's actually pointing out roughly, very roughly, borders of Prague. And as you can see, the blue inner circle, it's pointing out the very historical city center. And you can see that Prague airport is really not far. It takes you some 20-30 minutes to get in there. So we are kind of small, but it's worth it because you don't spend really ages when traveling around. By the way, when I speak about the historical city center, it's actually kind of funny thing, but we have the old town of Prague and lesser town, and those dates back to some, 8th century. But we have also New Town, which is that funny part, because New Town was set by Charles IV, the emperor, in 14th century. So New Town, in our words, means a little bit different thing to maybe some other areas. This is just a little thing about the airport, but we were talking about this already. So this is, by the way, one of the halls focused on, this is Terminal 2, focused on Schengen countries arriving to Prague, but it's well connected and easy to walk to Terminal 1. It's like 3-minute walk, maybe. It's really connected. A brief one about the hotels you can find in Prague. Let me mention a few which are really belonging to top ones in Prague. And the first one would be probably Four Seasons, because it has really the greatest location you can find here. It's right next to the Charles Bridge. So if you really like, being in the middle of really the busy time or whatever, it's just the place. Another one, which is worth of mentioning, is Mandarin Oriental. It's on the other side of the river than the Four Seasons. And it's actually in a little bit more quieter area. So it's just the one where if you want to have some calm time after the busy day, perfect place to go. By the way, they have great spa in the hotel. Worth of mentioning, new opening of last year, it was Andaz by Hyatt. It's again very city center at the border of the old town. Or the new openings planned for next year, it's Fairmont Golden Hotel Prague and W Prague. Both of them again in the very city center, so we will see if it comes, because I think with W it was already postponed a few times. So, but it's because of the history here. It's sometimes complicated with people in charge of these things. Then when it comes to conferences, there are other 5-star properties. By the way, these are not really rated officially in the Czech Republic, and is in many other countries in Europe because of pharmaceutical companies. They have tough codes, you know, when it comes to hotels being used for them. So these hotels are providing you with 5-star service, but not officially rated. And they are more like a conference hotels. So good to consider those when you have maybe bigger groups, because they can easily handle it. By the way, Hilton Prague is the largest hotel here, having really almost 800 rooms and some like 37 meeting rooms. So it's really big one. Let's go to, 4-star hotels. It's actually coming from our experience that the South African groups are always searching for usually 5-star hotels and sometimes also 4-star quality hotels within the city center. So there are options for all of these. Off-site venues, these are mentioned because of the conferences, but I will skip those because, as I said, from our experience, it's not always about the conferences, it's mainly about incentives. So I will skip these very quickly. This is the new opening, very big congress center. And I will go to restaurants quickly. This is to give you like brief overview on different types, different styles, different themes, maybe different cuisines. Because we can offer a lot of things, wide range of, as I said, different type of restaurants. For instance, the one on the left upper corner, it's a Pilsner restaurant, or actually now called Beer Hall restaurant in Municipal House. And Municipal House is really pearl of Art Nouveau architecture in Prague. And it offers really typical Czech cuisine, Pilsner work well, by the way. And also like possibly the folklore. There can be really folklore program aside to be organized for your clients. So it's just the thing. Otherwise, there are also like modern fancy restaurants, all the ones which are really located in great places such as Kampa Park, next to the Charles Bridge. So you can really enjoy dinner overviewing the Charles Bridge and the Vltava River. Then possibly, if you prefer, then you can be on one of the restaurants located on the top floors of big buildings in Prague. The one mentioned here, Oblaka, it's on the tower, Žižkov Tower, and it's a quite interesting place where to go because the Žižkov TV tower, it's interesting because of the big giant bronze babies running up the tower. I don't have the picture here, but it's worth of seeing it. It's actually made by a Czech architect and designer, David Černý. He's, I think, well known around the world as well for his creatings, let's call it like this. This map is just to give you a rough idea on how many different historical, but not only historical, gala venues or off-site venues we have here. It's really plenty and comes back to the fact that Prague has really strong centuries-old history that you can find in really small area, very condensed area. As Katrina mentioned, you are not really getting bored, even if you live here for a long time. And it's also thanks to the fact that during the Second World War, it wasn't really destroyed, as some other, capitals and big cities around Europe mainly. So this is one of the things, some pictures, where you can see, you can play with the setup, with the design, with whatever. and make really unique event for yourself, differently sized. And these are actually the must-sees I mentioned, they were mentioned here already, but it's the Old Town with the Old Town Square and astronomical clock, which are one of the must-sees. Then Prague Castle and Charles Bridge, and also like other places which are worth of visiting. And to some, like Strahov Monastery Library, we can actually grant a private admission, because otherwise you can't really enter these as a standard visitor, let's say. On top, as it's usual with incentives, we can also do like private, even like team building activities, but it can be just a fun activity to enjoy Prague a little bit more actively. And one of the things I would like to mention, it's also like you can see, I haven't changed the titles here. Sorry for that. I think it's clear that you don't see really astronomical clock on the left corner or Strahov Monastery Library below or next to it, but those old cars on the right below corner, it's Skoda cars. The production comes from the country. They are local. It dates back to some 70s, 80s, I think. And what we can do is like private kind of rally in Prague countryside. And it was really a great experience, even for me, when we had one South African group here in Prague doing this activity, because it was really like autumn. It was not really great weather. It was partially raining, and we were supposed to have like a picnic en route. And we were like, oh my, for any other group, it would be a disaster. And all these people, they were coming to that picnic incredibly happy and, like enjoying the time here, enjoying the ride.